Let's do it.
We are live.
Really?
We're freaking live.
Wow. Look at that. Everything has changed.
Everything.
So this is like, God, you're like the worst because you always want to do this. I mean, I guess it comes from being an artist, and you would imagine like you're kind of your own A&R. So like you don't just go make songs, you map out a plan for what your next album would be. So then you see somebody else album project and you imagine what that would be. So when they say Clipse has an album, Torre says, I can't wait to hear it. Green imagines what it sounds like and imagines what the project is and is not from the features and the guest list and the time period that we're. So let's talk about the Clipse album that no one has heard, but you've heard in your mind.
I think that's such a natural thing to do. And it's weird because I feel like that's what you've been doing, but then you want to say it's not. But yes, maybe not everybody had the privilege of you. Like you meet the artist before they drop the album. You walk around where they live, eat food with them, and talk about the album with the artist. So you're like, wait a minute, if the artist didn't say it, why are we talking about it? But fan bases, when you were writing these big Rolling Stone legendary articles about Lauryn Hill's album, we didn't hear it. And you know what we did? We talked to our friends about the music. We would be like, yo, what if they have this person on it? It's like, I heard that this person's on the album. And guess what? We actually have proof of certain people that are on the album because that's how things work nowadays, where you could see this on these previews. So right here, you got the track list. That's why artists drop the track list. Let me zoom in. You see the track list?
Let's see the names of the tracks. The Birds Don't Sing. Okay. See, I do see what you're saying as far as that immediately from the Clipse makes me think about an anti-snitching song.
You know what I mean? Or like drugs.
Yes, but I mean, don't with coke rap, don't sing. That means don't talk to the fucking police. Right. So
but that song specifically is about their parents passing away. So if there's some type of correlations, yeah, that's one that they talked about in an interview that the Birds Don't Sing is about their parents passing away, and it starts off the whole album in kind of like a somber tone. And they were talking about it in the interview that we played last time.
This is why it's so hard to predict the album. But okay, let's keep going.
Well, you don't have to predict. You use what you know and then create a whole vibe. And you're just talking about what's coming out.
Well, so I mean, you would think that a Clipse song called "The Birds Don't Sing."
He's like, that sounds like drugs.
That does not sound like a drug ref. I mean, if Kendrick said it, I wouldn't necessarily assume. I mean, I'm assuming everything from Clipse is a drug reference, right? I think you got to start from that premise and work to be it not a drug reference. But okay. Chains and Whips, we know, is the Kendrick song. That's second, so they're highlighting that. And then
Clipse and Tyler the Creator, that's a big one. The last time that Tyler the Creator and Pusha worked together was when he first came out. They made a song, and that song was amazing. I forgot what the name of that song was. That song, it had like a Pharrell made the beat, but it felt like a futuristic Wu-Tang beat. It was just impeccable. So I can't wait to hear it.
I mean, I want to know.
Mine is the name of the song.
I want to know who produced it. Is this a Pharrell song or is it a Tyler song? Right? Because that's gonna. Pharrell produced all this music. Okay, so Tyler's just an artist on this. Okay, it's interesting because their vibe is so different, right? Where Tyler is from and what he's about, what he represents, who he is, and what Pusha and Malice are about and represent, and who they are. And not that you can't, but just it's interesting. Two entirely different sorts of people coming together.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing I love about hip hop the most is like, especially when Kanye had that run where he was bringing the underground hip hop artists with the drug dealer hip hop artists, when you had Cameron and then you have Talib Kweli and you have Mos Def and Freeway, and you're putting all these artists together on one song to create a larger message, and it felt like a different representation of just blackness in general. The thing about Tyler, though, Tyler's very much on that high level authenticity in the idea of like, I'm doing this at a high level. I'm in France, I'm in Cannes, but I'm still this nigga from LA. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm from here and this is what I've ascended to. You know what I'm saying? Or transcended to. And I think that's where it matches up. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like,
yes, I mean, I'm sure it will work because they're both extraordinary artists. I think what each of them aims to do in music is different. Right? I mean, I think every time they step in the studio, they have different aims, you know. And I mean, like the Kendrick pairing, I'm like, oh, that totally makes sense how they're gonna vibe musically, personally, all the things. The Tyler friendship, and I know it's not new. You said they've already rocked together before.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like, you know, two very, you know, and you're making a connection, and I'm, you know, I'll roll with that. But I mean, just it's a funny pairing, and I'll be curious to see what that is.
Both from the same kind of camps, theoretically, with Pharrell. It makes so much sense. That song's probably gonna be one of my favorites. So Be It, we already heard. Wait, that's a So Be It Part 2.
Let's see that list again.
Yeah, let me look at it. It says, you see, So Be It, we heard. That's So Be It Part 2.
Part 2. I got more for that ass, Travis. What's up?
Hold on, I got more for that ass, Travis.
More rhymes about Travis.
Am I tripping? Because I don't think so.
God, Ace Trumpets.
This track
all things considered with The Dream, and then Pharrell on the mic. Who's the other? Is there another name? Does it say Pharrell Williams, or is there another name after Pharrell
Williams?
Okay, all right. You want to All Things Considered? Is that about the famous news podcast, All Things Considered?
NPR?
No,
yeah, it's completely about that.
MB. Now I know my daughter knows what this stands for, but what is this? What is this? MTBT?
I have no freaking clue. MTBTTF?
You don't know what it means? Let me see if she knows what it means.
Hit her up.
Now we know what the next one means.
What's the next
one? Don't you?
Nope.
Earnings before income and taxable depreciating assets. So it's like a business thing of like how, you know, it's a high. I just know this from watching Shark Tank, and fucking Mr. Stupid Wonderful be like, well, what about the EBITDA? And they'll flash beneath the earnings. I have really no real idea what that means. I just know what the
sure. Somebody's over here.
What do you mean, sure?
No. Big Buck's over here stunting on me. He's like, you know what that means.
I just watched Shark Tank.
Like, oh, like, you got more money.
And then FICO is another, I believe it's another financial term, but I'm sure there's, at this point, I'm sure it's a Coke reference that I'm just either a Rico drug reference, or it's got to be something. I mean, FICO score is a financial thing, but Inglourious Bastards, almost the Quentin Tarantino title.
Yeah. First of all, Stove God Cooks is on FICO, so that's fire. Stove God Cooks.
Tell me about him.
Stove God Cooks is like in the family or lineage of the Griselda type of style of hip hop, the neo boom bap, as we like to call it. So
okay.
He's definitely gonna work, and he speaks that like drug reference type shit, but at an elegant level. So he's completely gonna work with the Clipse.
The luxury Coke rap vibe.
Yeah, definitely that. So he's gonna kill it on that. And then you got So Far Ahead with Pharrell again. Inglourious Bastards with Ab Liva. Ab Liva was part of the crew doing the mixtapes, doing the We Got It for Cheap when Clipse weren't making albums, and they kind of couldn't because of their deal with RCA or whatever like that. They put out these mixtapes because, you know, the mixtape thing was booming at that time. We're talking about Lil Wayne, 50 Cent. They put out mixtapes. But in that interview, they told you too, they were the first ones to really get their mixtapes popping in the blog era, where hipster white kids started listening to them. So that's the shit.
I miss the mixtape era or the mixtape thing, and going to the corner on Friday night and getting the new DJ Clue CD or the new Ron G or Doo-Wop or whoever, and Drama, of course, DJ Drama, and like, it was a special space because MCs would try things that they wouldn't try otherwise. So I'd hear Raekwon or Fat Joe or Jay-Z or whoever, Busta, whoever, trying a new style and really going for it and like pushing something new, maybe with a new song or maybe with just a feature on a song or a multi-rapper song that they're trying something. And it was like really exciting to hear the established guys and the newer guys on these sort of tracks and like performing for the dedicated underground fan who's like, because there's no promotion. You just had to know where to go to get these things. There was no.
You went to the barbershop, you had the mixtape guy. That's like the real mixtape hand-to-hand era, right? And that was beautiful. And it was people rapping over other people's beats. That was, but I honestly loved when mixtapes went to Dat Piff and online too, because it started becoming more frequent. Like every fucking week, somebody was dropping a mixtape. And if you were a hip hop fan, you knew you were collecting all of them. Like the new guys that nobody knows, and then the popular people, you listen to everything.
Yeah. I mean, both of those eras for sure. Right. I just think it's just a different medium, but the same era of music that was for people who really love the sport the most. It was outside of your personal release schedule most of the time, right? It wasn't part of your album. It wasn't that you sent a single from your album to the mixtape. It was that, you know, Ron G or Doo-Wop or whoever called you and was like, I got a beat. It was what Khaled does, but on a smaller scale, right?
Right.
Right.
I want to address Sherry Ann. She's coming at us. Look at this. Y'all miss buying tapes and CDs out of trunks and swap meets? Yes. That shit was amazing.
Yes. And not the method. Like you had to go to a swap meet, or I'm at the corner of DeKalb and Flatbush, you know, or if you're in Harlem, you're on 125th Street, you get them on West 4th Street, 6th Avenue sometimes. But like they were there because they were outside of the commercial system. This was not going to be in Tower Records because this was not a traditional release. So artists would get looser and get realer and say iller shit or try different styles. And that relationship with the fans, I loved. That's what I loved about it.
Yep. It's the free that you felt their freedom. You felt the connection. It's like the equivalent of an artist having a podcast or following their Instagram nowadays, but way more artistic, because it was a direct relationship with your fan base. You kept them fed. And then when it was time to drop your commercial album, you had this whole fan base waiting for you to like top the mixtape. And a lot of times niggas didn't. And niggas hated your album because the mixtapes were better, right? So
sure.
And sometimes it was the reverse.
I wonder why it stopped. And I think partly what happened to DJ Drama and them was a huge put a huge chill on the mixtape world, them getting arrested and shit. But I also think that the main part of this era exists before the internet, and the internet makes it impossible to have like a private corner of culture. So now if you put out a mixtape and you had some hot shit, everybody would hear it. Well, that was not what the mixtapes were supposed to be, right? They were supposed to be a little more disposable, like a little faster. You weren't meant to hold on to them. So then it would be like, you're doing the off-Broadway shit. Like the big actor does the off-Broadway because he really wants to do this difficult play. Well, imagine if you were going to do that play, but it's also a movie that everybody can see. Well, wait a minute. Now I'm not doing a private thing that if you come out to see me, you understand we're doing something. We're trying, you know what I mean? Like the stage became too large for the mixtape thing where I'm trying something new and different that was no longer private. So you couldn't do that anymore.
Yeah, because it got democratized with that Spotify shit. Like right now, we're looking at this track list on Spotify for this album that, with a great rollout and anticipation and all that. This is a big album, one of the bigger albums of this year, right? But last year, one of the biggest things that we were talking about was Doechie's Mixtapes, which was on the same platform and won a Grammy. So you can't even decipher the difference between mixtapes and albums nowadays because of that. So it's exactly what you said, that it's like it's just on a too big of a platform sometimes for people to kind of like really accept it. So that's why I feel like artists definitely need to get into that same space where maybe they're doing Discords or it's on streaming where they're like putting out freestyles, even if it was on Instagram. I enjoyed that from people. Like when Kendrick was putting
does that say Clipse, Nas?
Yes.
Nas? That's Nasir Jones from Queensbridge?
It is the Nasir Jones from Queensbridge, God's son.
Get the fuck out of here. Whatever happened to him?
I don't know. I heard he got beat by Jim Jones in a rap battle.
wait. I gotta send you. Did you see this shit? Somebody said, hold on, I'm gonna send you this. Hold on. Somebody was fucking with Nas's albums and making them Jimmy disses. And I'm gonna send, wait. You can't even see this shit. This is Cam, son.
Cam, son. That's crazy.
I'm gonna send you this shit. This shit is so funny. They were fucking killing. I'm gonna send you this so you can throw it up so they could see it. Cam, son. And then they did one with Stillmatic. This is actually really bad because they go, Jim, still at it.
Still at it. That's crazy. I posted something about there's YNs and then there's also ONs, because that's just an old nigga just out here trying to continue his whole street vibe. That shit kind of weird.
ON, because he's not an OG, he's an ON.
He's an ON. There's OGs and there's ONs. Yeah, that man is an ON. There's an old nigga. That's just crazy. I don't know why you over here even creating that. And for him, he was like, yeah, this is just marketing. I'm like, yo, all attention equals attention, but all attention isn't marketing. That's what people need to understand. Marketing is actually a skill set because you have a desire to create a narrative and story that progresses your narrative and brand story. Attention is just ones and zeros. Yes, you'll get attention and people will see it. Doesn't mean that people are going to feel something about you. Marketing is making someone feel something about you and hopefully positive. No one markets a negative feeling.
Yeah, I mean, can we dispense, or at least in this conversation, attack the notion that all attention is good attention? There is quite a lot of bad attention that could be corrosive to your career or your project or your image, that you should want mostly good attention. Maybe if you're an artist, every once in a while you throw in, a curveball just to keep them on their toes, but like, come on. Like Kanye, for example, is on the bad attention is good attention train. And I don't think so, guys.
I think in 2025, and I was just on this marketing call with somebody this morning. And in 2025, I think the idea of good or bad attention kind of doesn't exist. But really? I think that there's positive, negative brand. I think that you either have a positive brand where people hear your brand name and they think positive things about you, or they hear the brand and think negative things about you. Now, how do you convert that into monetization is up to you, because you could have a negative brand and still be successful. That is Trump. Because if you're polarized,
he doesn't have a negative brand to his group, his supporters.
See,
they may not be the majority, but they're large enough, obviously, to get it done twice. But
so Jim Jones is the same fact where his actual fan base, and that 22-year-old said, I learned from Jim Jones, and someone says, yeah, Jim Jones is more impactful. If there's 10 people that agree with you, you have those 10 people who agree with you, but you're being talked about and attention's coming your way. So now you could go on this show and talk about it. Now this person wants to interview you. Now you're being talked about. So it's good or bad is like a moral thing.
Part of the thing you're talking about is this sort of in-group, out-group thing. And Jimmy's not really doing that. It's a little more like what we saw, let's say, Eminem do, or what Madonna did, as far as pushing the boundaries, whatever boundaries they may be, enough that there becomes an out-group that is like, that artist is bad. And then that artist community will rally around them and they become more important to that group. So now we love you more intensely because there's an out group that we are protecting you from and fighting against on your behalf, right? Who think you are bad for us or bad for society. So now we love you even more. So attacking the out group becomes, and Trump is playing that sort of thing very well. Like you and I, most of our fans, all of our friends would hate Trump. But we are the foil in his act whereby he's dunking on us or he's dissing us, and then our hate makes the things against him not work, like bounce off his back for his followers.
Yeah. So you don't think Jim Jones has that effect, you're saying?
No, I don't think he's doing that. I think he's just fallen into a position, and it's just like that old man shit of like, I just won't say I'm wrong. Like, you are wrong, but I'm just stubborn. I'm just never say I'm wrong. Like
he put out on his Instagram saying that, actually I could even probably find it, but he put out on his Instagram saying that, yo, y'all are stupid. Y'all don't know that I did all this shit for marketing. That's what he put out. And he had a million typos, and then people were like, here you go. I'm gonna put it right here. Look at this. If you're 40 and up, argue with me about knowledge, y'all already lost. Y'all fell for the bait. That's how you spell bait. My streams go up every time I got viral. I'm teaching you older artists a lesson in marketing. Y'all so stuck in yesterday. Y'all mad at the way things run today. Tighten up, right? So he's projecting as if this capo is projected as if this is his marketing strategy. And what I'm trying to say is that is an intention strategy and not a marketing strategy, because a marketing strategy tells a story. But that's going deeper into the concept and ideas and tools of branding and marketing and narrative marketing. I'm just saying that he's doing this shit just for attention, like you said Kanye's doing. Like, just because you think any attention will mean that I'll be successful. And that's not true. You could have 1 million pictures of likes because you showed your abs.
Oh my God.
Your abs on Instagram.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Wait a minute. Actually, let's before you go into that bullshit, which I would.
We didn't finish the track list either, by the way. Some people still want.
Oh, let's finish the track list. Because wait, hold on. Let me touch on something that I do want to come to. Like, did you see Beyoncé and the car in Houston?
Yeah, people were going crazy. I was like, I watched the entire video of her going down, because I was like, I'm in my house looking at my phone like, Beyonce better not fall off that car.
That's what I'm like. That's what I'm like. I'm like, you know what? Even though I'm like, if she fell, they would have led with that. But I'm like, she must be so scared, because I'm watching the first part of it, and I'm like, wow, look at that. Like, she's kind of maybe about to fall out of the car. I know she's strapped in there, but still it's getting precarious. And the show must go on, and she's still singing. And then she goes, stop. And I'm like, stop. She's really scared if she's like, stop the show. This is not working at all.
This is not part of the show.
And she ended up safe, but I was like, she must be scared. And I've just like, it hurts me to think about that she's up there in the air scared.
hella composed though. Like she just sat
Yes.
and just waited for it to go down. Just didn't say anything crazy. Didn't make other people. Didn't make the crowd hysterical because if she was scared and communicated that she's scared, she just sat there, let everyone scream until she got down, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she was nervous. I know she's strapped in there. I know that they're basically holding on to her, so she couldn't just fall. Even if the thing went 180, she is strapped onto it. She's not leaving it. But it's still scary to be 60 feet in the air and the thing is freaking tipping.
Well, it's leaning. That's scary. Yeah, if it fell, if she's strapped to the car and that shit fell, like that's over. Like that would have been horrible. I honestly was about to not watch the thing. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like it said the car is tipping. I was like,
this gets a huge amount of attention. It's not good attention. It's nothing against Beyonce. Nothing against Beyonce. We love her.
For who?
Nothing against Beyonce. But Beyonce stories are 100% about her perfection. The shows are perfection. Beyonce is never offbeat. The albums are perfection. The family is perfection. The hair, the edit, the outfits. This is like one moment out of a million. And I'm not judging her. I'm just pointing out one moment where the story is everything in Beyonce's world. Like, this is a huge team fuck up. And it obviously doesn't make you love her less, but it's like, this is not positive attention. No show on this tour has gotten more attention than this moment. This is not good attention. This is not what you want. So it's just all attention. Not good attention.
Moment got the same amount of attention.
No, this got more than Niggas in Paris. See, bad news travels faster than good news. Niggas in Paris was huge. This is bigger. I saw fucking 30 videos of this before I got out of bed.
I think that's algorithm though, because I only saw one video, didn't see nobody talk about it, not on my threads. I think it's algorithm based. You know, if you look, you are a way bigger Beyonce fan than I am. Like you are a Beyonce fan. You're part of Beyonce.
I'm such a fan that I'm looking at you like, what's wrong with you, nigga?
Yeah.
Like you're into modern music. Why are you not a bigger Beyonce fan?
I'm not I can't. How do you wait? So I can't just be a fan of Beyonce. I have to be the biggest fan of Beyonce.
No, you have to be at least in the area code of me.
Yeah,
yes.
have to be equal.
I come to it like I love hip hop, I love music, I love black music. Like, well, of course, this is the shit. You know, it's funny, and we can get back to clips on this, but I'll never forget. I was when after Michael Jackson died, BET was doing a special like variety show, BET style tribute to Michael Jackson. Mm-hmm. And Black Twitter was really, really hot at that moment. And, you know, so I'm in there talking to everybody. And I mean, part one of the story, I saw one of the greatest tweets of all time of Black Twitter history, where somebody said, I wish that BET died and Michael Jackson was doing a tribute to them, which was fucking ridiculously funny. But then the conversation became, well, Michael Jackson's not here anymore. Who is the new king of pop? This is 20 some years ago. And me and Dream Hampton and Questlove are on Black Twitter talking about it's Beyonce. And all these people are arguing with us like, no, she doesn't sing as well. She doesn't dance as well. She doesn't act as well. And we're like, she's not competing with Michael Jackson. He is not here anymore. She is competing with the current world. And now nobody would argue that she has not taken his pop cultural throne. But at the time, it was like, no, who's in charge? Who's the number one person here? Right? That was actually an argument.
It makes more sense, though, within the last few years than it did when you guys had that conversation, because I remember that moment actually, and I thought it didn't make sense.
It made sense to us
so you're
at
talking
the
about
time.
Single Ladies time, right?
This was after Single Ladies, and we were doing movies, we were doing fashion,
Yeah, but still, we were doing. Hey, he's part of the team. We were doing movies, so we got everything.
Beyonce was doing music and movies, and she, already having a fashion impact. She was, yes, Single Ladies does mark a shift into a different level. When Single Ladies was hot, Saturday Night Live did a sketch, a pre-taped like video sketch about the Bajancy, and the joke was, you don't love Beyonce enough. And it was like somebody gets arrested for saying, this is not my favorite Beyonce album, and thrown in jail, and the person who's there in jail with them is like, I wasn't dancing to her song at a wedding. And the woman's like, I was tired. Like, I love it. It's just so freaking tight. So, already at that point, they were mocking the notion of super fandom around her. That was already there.
I feel that, but I think Single Ladies was out when that skit came out.
Okay.
But either way, I'm saying that's the whole movement, and that still marks the beginning. But let's move into the clips, and then in the chat they're talking about your boy's abs.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So I mean, we already said so far ahead, another Pharrell chorus probably. I wonder if Pharrell got rap first, but Let God Sort Him Out. That is the title track of the whole thing. It says / chandeliers. So
that's SZA, of course.
It's SZA, clearly. But there's rumor that Jay-Z's still on the album. We don't know. His name's not on anywhere.
Keep going. There's more pages.
There's more pages, but it's on there. By the grace of God. The more pages is just.
So that's the end of the album.
Yeah. So. All
right, you want to show him your boy's abs? Go ahead, show him your boy's abs. I don't care. I don't really care. You want to look at stomachs? I don't. But whatever. I got to share. It's your show too.
This is your boy.
It's yours. Oh yeah, it's my boy. I'm the number one hater. You're not. You don't hate Drake as much as me. You don't love Beyonce as much as me. I don't know about you right now.
It's like, well, we can't be cool because I exactly where you at.
You don't like Drake, but you don't dislike him as much. You like Beyonce, but you don't like her as much. Like
not as much. Not as much. Because you like every Beyonce album. We'll get anyway. It says glaring details.
No, but the last 3 have been incredible. I mean, I don't want to talk about B-Day. Y'all are self-titled. I don't want to talk about that. I'm not arguing about that. I'm saying last 3 albums, this is one of the greatest 3 album runs in modern pop culture last 30 years. Lemonade, Renaissance, Cowboy Carter.
I would say that Tyler had a better 3 album run.
No, I mean, like, Tyler's an incredible and important
4 album run, really.
I mean, Beehive people would include self-titled. I just don't love it as much as they do. But I mean, like, Lemonade, Tyler's an incredible artist, and that's a fine argument.
After Lemonade is Renaissance, right? Or right?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Lemonade. Well, no, there's the African project too. Though.
Next, you're going to ask me what state is above California. What are we talking about here?
Like, because you're wrong. She had an album before that, the Lion King one. That was an actual album. It wasn't just a Lion King.
We ain't counting that.
How you not count that?
You got no Black is King. That wasn't a real Beyonce solo release. Like, I'm talking about, this is what I'm about. Lemonade is what I'm about. Renaissance is who I am. Cowboy Carter is what I'm talking about. Like, this is big shit. I mean, Kanye, you could put Kanye in that conversation. Definitely amazing 5 album run from Kanye.
Oh, you're trying to say she has the best 3 album run
ever? I didn't say best. I'm not even caring about best. I think she has one of the best.
Yeah, okay.
Of this recent era. Kanye is up there. Sade is up there. Jay-Z is up there. Although Jay-Z tends to go on off. Right, like his career is a lot of times like great album, so-so album, great album, so-so album. Where especially like this later career, but like, Kanye had like 5 straight that were incredible.
I don't think Jay-Z has a 3 in a row that's crazy. I completely agree with you. Yeah. Like a 3 in a row, because you got Black Album and Blueprint, which is like excellent.
Right.
Back to back. But I think after Black Album, you got Kingdom Come, and before Black Album is Dynasty album. So
yeah, Dynasty is different, but Kingdom Come is what I'm talking about. That was just so Jay-Z. There might be
two. So actually, they're not back to back. I just realized that's not back to back. Blueprint and Black Album.
See, he'll give you
on and off
a hit on the. He still made hits, but the album was just okay. And then he'll give you an album that's friggin' fire, and I want to look at this, but I mean, like, you know, Beyonce. It's an incredible recent career. All right, say it like this. A contemporary artist in your 40s, when most artists are on the downswing creatively and definitely commercially.
Beyonce is probably in the top of that. Yeah. Period.
Yeah. Creatively, commercially ascending to a new level for herself, and the super pop cultural level, and still doing super creative, not sell out.
U2 did.
Yes. You know? Yes. That's a really great.
Bob Dylan. There's actually very few people, human beings, that are in that breath of air where it's like, yo, I'm getting in my stride in this time period in the music industry. When you're a woman, a Black woman too, where they don't want you to, like, the industry's trying to push you out, even though that you may be at your best at that time period, because you know who you are, you know what political views you have, you know what you want to say. So you have all this great music and foresight, but a lot of times what happens in the music industry is that they're trying to box you into this other shit because they're like, this is what we're selling, even though they want to do something else and they want to be more creative. So when you come to like Tom York and Radiohead and U2 and Beyonce, these are people who took the leaps of faith of, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Hold on, you mentioned Tom York, and I would say Radiohead is my favorite rock band out of the modern era. Okay. And I'm curious because you're deeper into rock than I am. What's your favorite rock band of the modern era?
I think I have them I don't think I have a top favorite in modern era. I couldn't say that because I have too many different sections of rock because of how they subgenre it. But Radiohead is one of them. Like Kid A and OK Computer. Like I can't deal with how great those projects are.
Oh my God. And different. And wait, what was the one after that? Because they don't really
In Rainbows.
Oh my God. That album was incredible. And then there was the one after that. They don't miss.
Rage Against the Machine might be my favorite band, but you said modern era. I don't think that's modern era, I guess.
Not really modern era, but I respect that.
But like modern era, I really, the band that I think got a lot of flack, but I think was one of them I found out over the pandemic, is one of my favorite bands. It's Coldplay. Coldplay is so amazing. They make hits. They make great music, great albums. I don't understand why people hate on Coldplay. I don't get it. I just don't. I
don't hate on Coldplay. I interviewed Coldplay on the beginning of the second album run, at a time when they were, because the second album came out and a gold amount of people were like, wow, that was great. And then it kept going. And then it went into like quintuple, triple, duple, platinum, gold. So they kind of like did all the things, all the radio stations and stuff and videos. And like the world was like, this is very good. And then they did it again. And then the world was like, no, that was really good. And so within that, they sort of saw, and then went to a whole. So I loved them. I met them and loved them before they were gigantic. And it felt like, wow, like this is really smart, like rock, like soulful. And then when it went to the stratosphere, I was like, I don't like it so much anymore. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to be snobby about it, but it was like, I was kind of at this party when there weren't that many people here, and now there's like a lot of people here. It's kind of like crowded. And the third,
like a lot of people were like that.
Pop for me. I'm not interested in this anymore. So I lived through Nirvana, and I did not experience that. I did not feel like that. Like they became gigantic, and I don't care how many people are at this party.
Nirvana is also one of my favorite bands of all time. That second album is just.
I think my second favorite rock band, and maybe could compete for first, is the White Stripes.
Took it out of that. Yes. How you feel like I should feel about Beyonce? I feel like you should feel about White Stripes. That is like the most underrated band of all time. I love
you couldn't love them more than I love them.
What, the White Stripes?
We went to Tennessee to buy shit from his little fucking store.
Yeah.
We saw them.
It was closed when I pulled up.
We saw them at the Garden.
So they didn't open up the store for me.
When my wife was 7 months pregnant with the first kid, and 7 months, you're like tired. Like you're going places with like, fuck yeah, I want to go there, or like, nah, I'm chilling. I'm good. And she's like, no, like we are fucking going to the White Stripes. I don't care. Like, oh my God.
Meg White is one of the most underrated drummers ever with her.
You know what's crazy?
Unorthodox drumming.
We were listening to, we were driving around Harlem and listening to the album. I swear to God, and my wife was there. We saw them shooting a video outside in Harlem as we were already driving through the area, already listening to them on our own volition. We're like, holy shit, there they are. Oh my fucking God. Like, ridiculous.
Someone said we're just trying to avoid Aubrey's picture. Yeah, we don't feel like looking at this nigga's abs. We started talking about shit.
I'm not trying to avoid shit. Just show it. Fine. Fuck it. I don't care.
We already showed it. Look it. There it goes. Oh. For some reason, your boy decided to take a picture in front of a bunch of alcohol bottles.
Why is he in front of a million? I mean, like, if you're roided up like that, I would think you're not drinking so much because you're keeping the tempo, but whatever the fuck. Okay, so is after the Ozempic line and the V12 line from the battle, like I would think like I'm going to show you how I got here rather than just show you this, which I'm now assuming is plastic surgery. Because I don't think he could work that hard to look that good at that age.
All that. I mean, you can. You can, but he showed, look, he's got him running right here. He's been running. That's what makes abs.
The jogging is not getting you the abs.
You just jog and you get abs.
That is, no, it's not. It's crunches. You just endless crunches. Show him again. Is he a six-pack? Let's see. I know it's flat. It's plastic surgery. It's not work. He's not at the gym. What gym are you go to? What's your workout routine?
That's hilarious. Let's look at it again.
6. Ugh, gross. Ugh. Why do I know this ridiculous tattoo of a fucking allegations? It's so corny. Why do I know this? I don't want to know any of this about this chest. Can you please, like, can you burn that file?
You said look at it again. I ain't even trying to look at this shit.
I was having
fun talking about White Stripes and Coldplay. The chat said,
but they wanted to fucking hear it.
Chat's like, where's Drake? We want to see his ass.
Is that what you prefer? Is that what you fucking want? That's why you came to this show, to see Drake's abs, to see us talk about Drake's fucking abs?
Let's look at the chat and see what they're saying.
I'm so just grossed out right now. Why did y'all ask me to look at that? That's disgusting.
I think we're learning now that everything doesn't have to be for everybody. Yes, that's true.
I don't know what that means in this context.
But maybe it's to this cause. Tori has Beyonce Cowboy Tour lasso. I know it. He probably does.
I don't have a lasso. Wait, grab me that thing, mommy. Grab me that thing. I don't have a lasso. Grab me that thing right there. I'm gonna point to you right there. It's right, that Cowboy Carter thing right on my thing. I'll show you what I do have.
He's like, I do got some merch.
Oh my God.
Memorabilia.
You know, I'll tell you, the child will not move slower than when you ask them to do something.
Do something. Yep. It's like asking for the remote, but that's what you made them for, to get them different stuff.
Thank you, baby.
What is that? Oh, this is the band for VIP or something?
Yeah.
Oh. I ain't special.
Everybody got that. Not just VIP. That's the band for if you walk in.
No one can hear you. You're not on the mic.
Okay, we'll tell him.
You heard. No. You heard.
No. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
He ain't get no VIP. Anyways, I think Malice is sub dissing Travis on So Be It.
Hey, Drive Program, you're wrong. It's not a sub diss. Nothing sub about it. It's out in the open. Fuck. Fuck you, Travis. He said Calabasas. We all know Utopia. We all know exactly who he's talking about. That's not dry stitching. That's super wet.
Oh, he was talking about that Push's verse, but he's saying Malice's verse before it was sub dissing. Because Push's verse is the Calabasas verse and all that. So he's saying that he thinks that the verse is sub dissing him on that one. Possible. Don't know. Malice usually is just kind of like all of y'all, but it's possible.
But latte mugs.
Yeah, we got to get those mugs going. That's all on me. I apologize to everybody for not getting our merch settled and set up. But the mugs are coming, and the White Stripes are the GOATs. Definitely. I'm very happy that Touré's on that.
What about Led Zeppelin?
On this, you ain't Arab.
What about Led Zeppelin?
Oh, Led Zeppelin too. I don't like the fact that they stole all their music, but I love Led Zeppelin. I like Led Zeppelin.
Well, if I got to go into a rock and roll sonic context, I find myself leaning toward artists who are leaning more toward Black music. I mean, you know, I
can hear that. I agree with that too. And it's like, to me, it's like, damn, all the stuff is blues chords and rock structures. So I look for the same thing that you're talking about.
There's a fucking cloud passing, and suddenly I'm in the dark.
Yeah, you dark as hell, bro. You're real dark right now.
Should I get the light, or should I just suffer in the dark?
Just suffer in the dark. Nobody cares.
It's
live. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. But Led Zeppelin is definitely goated. Obviously, I love Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin 3 is my favorite Led Zeppelin album. This is Rock Latte right now, guys. Rock Latte. And then obviously Nirvana, Green Day. Obviously, I'm a fan of Green Day. Like actually, and because of Green Day. I love American Idiot and their first album. Tame Impala, if we're talking about new bands, new artists, Tame Impala I'm a big fan of Tame Impala. Huge Tame Impala fan. Smashing Pumpkins, I like their songs, but not all of their albums.
Yo,
like Pearl Jam. Like Pearl Jam. We talk about that. I don't like Pearl Jam.
Smashing Pumpkins. Oh, that's sacrilegious. How could you say you don't like Pearl Jam, dog?
Or
Pearl Jam, as opposed to their city mate Nirvana, Pearl Jam had much more soul and bass in their sound, which goes back to the blues bass of rock, of the rock that I and you really like.
Yeah.
And they're definitely sons of Led Zeppelin, and like just there's more soulfulness in their music than Nirvana a lot of times. No shade to Nirvana, one of the greatest bands of all time.
I feel the reverse a lot of times with that. And Foo Fighters goes without said. Dave Grohl is literally my OG, so I love Foo Fighters. But just looking at the chat, my thing with Pearl Jam is that nigga's voice. He's a little too white for me.
Wait a minute.
I like his voice.
Is Kurt not a super white sound Kurt Cobain?
It's his accent is okay with me, whereas Pearl Jam's accent, like that deep, fake.
Okay. I mean,
it's like Nickelback.
I mean, he's kind of still doing his own version of a bluesy wail there, which Kurt Cobain is not at all.
Yeah, that's why I don't like it. Like I'd rather hear real real
No,
bluesy.
I mean, we would always prefer real, but I think, I mean, I don't know. I fucks with Eddie.
It's an aesthetic thing. I don't like the sonics of his voice and the accent he sings in. So it's hard for me to get past anything. And his lyrics are trash.
Oh, well, that's not true. That's not fair. You know, Pearl Jam is definitely a group that makes songs that you need to decode. Like, so they knew you are going to have to read the article about the album to understand what we're talking about, or see the interview on MTV News to understand, because you'll never make it. You'll never understand. The song is written in code, but then he goes with Kurt Loder or whatever, and he's like, the song is actually about the time that my mother.
Yeah, there's metaphors and all that, but I'm not a fan. When I say writer, I'm like lyricist. That's the lyrical state, right? Songwriting, I'm not a fan of his songwriting. So how he's choose to structure the chorus, what his verse sounds like in the words he chooses, versus like him putting messaging and lyricists. Like, I don't like Bob Dylan's songs, but I can note that he's probably one of the best lyricists. Like, Bob Dylan was an amazing lyricist, like writing lyrics.
What about Guns N' Roses?
Guns N' Roses, they got some jams, and Slash is in the band, so I gotta fuck with them. I gotta fuck with Slash.
They had an energy, especially on that first one, that was like a car that's on fire, that's out of control, that cannot be stopped, and just were loud, were wild, but they weren't out of control. In the metaphor they are, but in actuality, they were very sharp and precise. They knew what they were doing, and they were murdering it on a rock and roll tip. And then they came back with the Choose Your Illusion double album, or my God, that was murderous. And I remember they said I believe they said they made the album in 2 weeks, because they were so sharp with all the things that they were doing, that they were like, well, we know how to do this. So they freaking did an incredible long double album in 2 weeks at the height of their fame, and then went back out on their, I mean, that's like the classic wild world tour with, you know, drugs, women, and violence, and like,
sex, drugs, and rock and roll vibes.
Yeah.
Which I honestly, that whole era, I don't really rock with. And Guns N' Roses, the only thing were songs, but I don't know Guns N' Roses like that for me to go deep in it. But I know their hits, obviously. But that whole 80s metal shit, like that's just a wash for me. Because in the 80s, I liked new wave and actual hardcore punk. Like, all that shit is what I'm fucking with, because I'm not from that era. So I had to go back and listen. I'm like, I don't like none of this metal shit. I like Bad Brains and fucking Fugazi and Minor Threat and shit like that.
Well, first you said new wave, and then you said punk, and those are great punk bands. I never quite got that deep into punk, but I respect that black punk. But now the new wave, sad emo boy shit, yeah, I can fuck with that.
Yeah.
like that nerdy lonely boy shit. Like, yeah. It with The Cure and all that shit?
The Cure. I like Tears for Fears. When was the era of the was it the Smiths?
Yeah.
The 80s?
Yeah. The 80s, yeah.
I'm fucking hard with all of that shit, which is I ain't really rocking with no pop metal shit. That's why I don't even like Metallica. I like newer metal shit more than like old metal stuff, because it's like I feel like Led Zeppelin happened, Black Sabbath happened, and then this pop metal shit happened, and I hate all that. And then it got kind of like into emo shit and experimental math rock.
Yeah.
And I could fuck with that shit.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
The Smiths was super dope. Yeah. That way that dude sings was kind of like your boy from Pearl Jam. What's his name? Eddie Vedder?
Eddie Vedder. Yeah. I mean, there's
but it sounded good.
Well, there's I think there's even more soulfulness and a singing ability and a more direct emotional approach. I think Eddie's a great singer, but I mean, like Robert Smith, I mean, like, my God, you're like just incredible emotional music.
What's your favorite and best Black rock bands?
My favorite Black rock band.
They said shout out Living Color and Fishbone.
I mean, let's see, Living Color definitely comes to mind. TV on the Radio comes to mind. I mean, I want to say Prince and the Revolution, but you'll be like, that's not the same thing. But I mean, that is.
I'll give it to me. I will give it to, because Prince was actually that. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of just him. But he wanted to play music.
Wait. What do you mean it's just him? No. It's not just him.
No, all the music is him. Like he's writing. So I can't give him the band thing to the.
That's not fair, because his relationship to that specific group of individuals, especially Wendy and Lisa, transforms his sound to be something different than it was before them, before the revolution, and after. And it's a special period in his career, partly because of the influence and they were much more experienced musicians than he was, as he's a virtuoso, but they come from musical families. So they had been in professional music, even though they were young, and they had a much wider understanding of music. So they're introducing stuff to him, and he's eating it up like a sponge, and the music that we get is coming out. So his relationship to them is critical to the revolution.
It's very band, it's very band-like, and that's how you would put the end revolution. But what I'm trying to say is Prince is still the aesthetic and the brand and front-facing brand of it, and I think that creates a big difference in the dynamic of how things work. Even though in bands, a lot of times there's one guy who writes all the shit and is the leader and makes things go. That's how a lot of bands are, and that's how you be successful. But it's still a brand that your image and name is not the front-facing thing. And I think that changed. You remember when we had that conversation about being in a group versus two people and how that changes the dynamics of a rap situation? A group is a big difference between you being we are the Cure or we are Bad Brains versus
yes,
Prince
I mean,
in the Revolution.
He was the boss, but it was a musical group. I mean, can we include the Jimi Hendrix Experience in this? Because I would. This is one of the great Black rock band. I mean, it's black as hell and as rock as hell. So
yeah.
I love that to death.
I will completely do that. I mean, to me, it's in, when it comes to rock, I would just go straight to Bad Brains. If we want to do kind of solo people who had situations, which I feel like they do that all the time with the Black rock artists. Lenny Kravitz could have easily have been a band, but he's just Lenny Kravitz, and he has really good rock songs, like some of the best.
He's got so many hits over such a long period. It's unbelievable. And you want to see, he did a video, I believe last year, 60 years old, shirtless, looking hot as hell. Like Drake think he's cute because he could take his shirt off at 38. This nigga's 60 and looking like sharp.
He said Drake. I love how you just battled Drake with Lenny Kravitz's abs. He said, "Fuck your abs, Drake. You never seen Lenny Kravitz's abs before."
Hey, you know what I mean? What the fuck?
This nigga. See, that's what I'm trying to say. I could never be as good as a hater as you.
No. See, you got to know what you can do and who you are. You know what I mean? You got to be realistic about your potential. You know, you just don't have the dedication to this particular thing that I have. You know what I mean?
At all. And
you don't even aspire to have it. So how are you going to get it?
It's like, I can never get there. I got to revamp my whole MySpace. You know what I'm talking about? Lenny is definitely in there, but that's enough with the rock latte. Did we finish the Clipse?
I think we did. I think we finished the Clipse album.
But we didn't talk about their rollout and this right here. which I enjoyed just seeing. So first of all, we saw the article, we saw their release of the song, then the lyric video, then the album trailer, then they do the New York Times article, then they do that interview in person with Pop Star. This is like one of the best rollouts of an album, I would say, since Kendrick and Tyler. And
you're talking about because we're getting hot singles, we're getting visuals, we're getting impactful interviews.
Yes.
And it's old school rollout that we're like attacking it from multiple sides.
Yeah, it's old school rollout in the essence of like your there's full coverage, right? That's the idea of full coverage. But
you should try to get them to come on the show.
We can try. Let's go.
I mean, that would be so much fun for you.
It'd be amazing. It'd be amazing to have the gentleman on the show. I mean, those are, I've only met them once. Malice is definitely just as nice as he seems. He's a super, like, just nice dude, a good dude. And Pusha was definitely nice as well, but I had longer conversations with Malice. And it's like having them on and being able to talk and dissect their album. Like, if after they drop the album, that would be amazing. It'd be
I heard that Pusha likes tennis, like that he is trying to learn how to be a better player himself.
That's fine.
I'm like, oh, come on, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
I'm about that life. Okay, we'll work on that shit. Let's see how we can get what angle we could pull. Let's see what angle we could pull. This right here.
This is culturally inappropriate.
Ballerinas doing pirouettes inside of my snow globe. Shopping sprees in Soho, you had to see it. Strippers shaking ass and watching the dough blow. Ace trumpets and rose modes. Yellow diamonds look like PP. Bitches fly from DC on my private to Waikiki. 3P, niggas is my sons and that's on repeat. Sins of the father, so I call you little Michis. It's easy.
Let's talk about the just power of the duo. Like when you see a duo or you see a group, you're fully engulfed in the brand of them. Like when I see them, I'm like, I know they're brothers. I know their sound. Like everything about their story and brand and narrative comes to my mind when I'm hearing the song and seeing the visuals. And that's the importance of actual cultural currency. Like when we said this rollout is good, the reason why the rollout is good is like you're doing these little things and people like us and all the people talking about on YouTube and Instagram and everything, we care. That's the difference. Like we care about it because you're actually represent something. And that's the shit that's fire about this.
Well, part of this thing too is that having somebody else there creates a contrast, and they're either going to contrast a little bit or a lot. Like Andre and Big Boy contrast a lot, but you see the difference more so with them standing together. Pusha and Malice are much more similar, but there's still this contrast that you keep talking about. But Malice is much more inward looking, introspective, and more aware of the problems and challenges in the world, whereas Pusha's a little bit more less self-reflective, less, emotional, more like, this world is great for me, even when it's harsh. And the difference between them is amplified because I see them approach it in slightly different ways. So it brings out more Malice's willingness to criticize or at least admit the harsh reality of the world around him. That comes out more after I see Pusha do a verse and not do that.
3,000%. This person said a Toure Pusha interview would be the pettiest, most passive aggressive conversation ever recorded.
The doomer with the whole the doomer with. I don't think it's hating because the doer's been hanging with us since like day one.
It's not hate. It's just them knowing they're like, y'all would just go back and forth hating on Drake.
Oh, that petty fest. Oh, yes. I thought it beat each other. Oh, yes. No, for sure. For sure. I'd be like, look, I'm the #1 Drake hater. No. Push. No. I'm the #1 Drake. No. Push. No. I don't. I'm. I promise you, I hate him more than you do, and I've never even met him.
Never met this dude. That's the #1 reason why I can't really hate. It's like I don't even know this dude.
I know all I need to know.
I hate JD Vance. That's one person I do hate. I don't know that nigga. I hate JD Vance. Like I hate that nigga.
I mean, I hate Benjamin Netanyahu. I never met him either.
Facts. How you feel about the new mayor?
I love the new mayor. He's not mayor yet, but he's almost certainly going to win. My wife and I voted for Zohran Mamdani. We love the progressive ideas. We love the stance on Israel, although I have no idea why we're having extensive conversations about Israel and Gaza in the New York City mayoral race. It's inappropriate. And like, even when one reporter asked him one question on it and he answered, and then she felt a need to ask him 3 follow-ups, which get to, well, does Israel have a right to exist? Like, how are we here on his general opinion? And then the next reporter do the same thing. And the next reporter do this. I'm like, all of you are going to ask them the same fucking questions? Like, what does this have to do with New York City? When I talked to him, because I was on the Joy Reid show when he came in, he was supposed to come in at a different time. And so we were on together. I asked him about the NYPD and how he's going to deal with that. I asked him, what else did we talk about? We talked about this NYPD and stop and frisk. Oh, we talked about the overproliferation of marijuana stores because we agree that marijuana should be legal in New York City, and it is, but that has also led to we have too many marijuana stores for the freaking, like, for the demand that could possibly, if you walk through Manhattan, it's like every block has 3 marijuana stores, some branded, some like kitschy and undergroundish, and most of them are illegal. There's too many for the cops to catch up to shut them all down, but they get shut down from time to time. But you're like, that's not what we signed up for. I signed up for people to not get arrested for smoking a joint. Like, I didn't sign up for, like, now Manhattan is 1/3 a weed emporium, and it's not about the smell or anything like that. It's just there's too many fucking stores. Like, there shouldn't be. So I asked him about that. Nothing about Israel, because nothing about that has anything to do with what's going on here.
It's not something that he has any control over. So I don't know why they ask. And they make that politicizing that whole situation up and down, all the way down to the mayor race, to me is just completely ridiculous. It's just, it's asinine. So yeah, I loved when people challenge that. And even when he challenged it, it's like, why are you asking me these questions? People definitely, it's like, I shouldn't even have to ask these questions. But the weed thing, I wasn't even really truly aware of as a non-New Yorker.
Yeah.
So many stores and some, like, when I'm walking in the streets of Manhattan, I don't know where anything is. I don't know. There's just shit everywhere. There's like store after store. There's just so much shit everywhere that I wouldn't realize that there was like a weed store on every block, because every block has too much. There's too much sensory information in Manhattan. A lot.
That's funny. Where, I mean,
Brooklyn's way different.
Yeah. Oh, you feel comfortable in with the amount of sensory information you're getting in Brooklyn, but Manhattan is a lot to you.
It's a lot of sensory information. Whereas, the number one thing, Brooklyn. So when you're in Brooklyn too, kind of like where you can see the sky. Like, the sky is in Brooklyn. Like, there's places.
But you mean Times Square, because Soho is not like that.
Soho has a lot of sensory information, and Soho is actually the place. When I go to New York, that's why I like to stay. I stay like between Soho, Chinatown area, and I just be out there. You nigga want to shop, you do your fucking thing. So Soho is still buildings, my nigga. What are we talking about? And there's a lot of people and a lot of congestion in the way that's structured. If you go to Chelsea area or whatever, like, then you start seeing like the sky. I start seeing
I'm trying to gauge what you really mean. So you mean is Chinatown sensory overload for you in Chinatown?
Hell yeah.
Okay. But Tribeca is Tribeca, or you don't know what Tribeca is?
I probably don't know what Tribeca. Was Tribeca, was that near Chelsea shit?
It's near Soho.
I don't know what Tribeca specifically. I've been to New York a lot of times, but I don't live there.
Yeah.
Tribeca?
No, it's fine. You don't need to. You know, I'm on the air right now, right? We're on live right now. You keep saying, "What about Times Square? What about Times Square?" Like, I ignored you the first time, and you said it 3 more times.
She want to be in the conversation. It's fine.
She can be in here. Come here. You want to come talk to Green? Come here. No, now we're all.
Now you don't want to talk. That's messed up.
Green.
You can say what's up. You ain't gonna talk to me about Love Island? Ask her who she wants to get on to Love Island.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me ask you a question. And we could go to the chat for this one as well.
Bet.
Is a hamburger a sandwich?
No.
How could you possibly define a hamburger? Excuse me. How could you possibly define a sandwich without also defining a hamburger?
Let me ask you this question.
2 pieces of bread with stuffing in between.
Let me ask you this question, and I get your logic.
Yes, technically.
Cereal soup.
Yes, absolutely.
Cereal is soup.
Absolutely. I mean, if you pour water in there, absolutely. But actually, let me get there because you've leapt ahead. Actually, cereal, as you described it, with the milk in it, that's actually salad. But you don't understand that because I leapt to chapter 5 and you're only on chapter 1. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
A hot dog is not.
You can't define hamburger and not define a sandwich. You can't do it. You didn't even try.
It's a hamburger. What are you talking about?
It's 2 pieces. Define a sandwich. What's a sandwich?
What is a sandwich? A sandwich, here's the thing. If you want to be technical and you say that a sandwich is just 2 pieces of bread and a meat in between, then
technical, you need to define what the words actually mean. A sandwich.
Yeah, as you know, words change over time. The dictionary changes frequently, and people be talking about the dictionary like it's something that stays the same forever. Words.
That is true.
A hamburger is a hamburger because you want to say it's a type of sandwich. I'm going to say a hamburger is
what area of food does it belong? How is it not? You can't define a sandwich without talking about a hamburger. It's 2 pieces of bread with something in between. But you said
what a hot dog is, though.
Hold on. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, but a hot dog is not 2 pieces of bread because it's 1 piece of bread with a split in the middle and you put the hot dog in. So how's that
interesting? How could a hot dog not be a sandwich? Because again, we have bread surrounding a thing. Is a taco a sandwich?
You just said 2 pieces of bread.
Yeah.
You said 2 pieces of
bread. So you're going to stick on that it's 2? Is a sub a sandwich?
A sub is a sandwich.
Oh, but that's 1 piece of bread. A po' boy, a sub is 1 piece of bread.
You cut the bread in half on a
No,
sub.
you don't. No, you don't. I mean, you can, but you can also serve it open-faced. With the bread is contiguous, like in a hot dog.
So in your world,
the separation of the bread does not make
in your world, everything is a sandwich.
Everything is a sandwich or a salad. If you eat it with your hands, and there's like a carb or a carb-like thing or some sort of membrane that is keeping you from touching the stuff, it's a sandwich. You eat it with your hands. Everything else is a salad. You eat it with a fork or utensil. So it's the presentation that we're really talking about. It's not the thing. There's nothing inherent in the thing. It's how you
eat it. Sandwich created? The term.
What?
Let's get into it. When was the term sandwich created? Let's look it up.
I don't know.
Let's look. Because that matters. Because that means that anything before the term sandwich created could never be a sandwich.
But what we've done over and over as far as food presentation is say, I'm going to give you something to eat, but I need you to be able to eat it with your hands, right? Like traditionally hand-eaten food. So, okay, here's how you can eat a burger. I mean, the burger comes from car culture in California. That's where it really explodes, that people needed to be able to sell something that people could eat in their cars as they drive. But then the taco and the hot dog are the same principle. I gave you bread as a delivery that you could hold the meat and not get your hands messy. That's essential, the essential item of all sandwiches. Everything functions that way, except you put it on a plate or in a bowl, and I got to eat it
Is taco
with
a sandwich?
fork to keep my hands from getting messy. That's a salad. Everything else is a sandwich. Soup is a salad. Fried chicken is a sandwich.
You just said
taco is
soup
a sandwich.
salad.
What?
You just said soup is a salad?
Yes, as far as the presentation, you are going to eat it with a utensil. So that makes it, it's presented in the category of a salad. Everything falls into salad or sandwich. Fried chicken is a
I don't
sandwich.
agree with that theory at all. That shit sounds very white supremacist to me.
What's the... There's nothing white supremacist about it. I gave you a breaded membrane to protect your fingers from the actual chicken. It doesn't, if you choose to take it off, that's your choice. But I presented it to you as chicken wrapped in something else that you hold and eat. That's a sandwich. It's just a deconstructed sandwich.
The more that you go into this, the more I know that you're wrong.
No.
1764, the Earl of Sandwich, he created the term sandwich, right? But before that, all these things existed, like tacos and all that stuff existed way before.
That doesn't matter.
So you're saying, no, I'm saying
it doesn't matter. The name of the thing, that's like the name. How did he? The name catches up to the humans actually doing the thing. Like humans are always doing something, and then we figure out a name for it. Like that doesn't change anything.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why a hamburger is different. That's why a stew is different. That's why a soup is different than a salad. That's why they have different names.
No, but they're all under a certain taxonomic group. And yes, I mean, they can have different names. What do you boil down to? Just like you understand that there's really only 3 movies. Every movie's essentially telling one of 3 stories. Hero goes on a journey, stranger comes to town, lovers interact, either meet or break up or have a right lover's story. Hero goes on a journey, stranger comes down. Every movie boils down to one of those 3 stories. We only have 3 movies. One of those 3. That's it, right? Mm-hmm. This is the same thing as that. You could say, oh my God, there's a rom-com and a thriller and a horror movie. Yes, there are. But when we reduce them down to what they really are, we're always telling one of those 3 stories. They find them, but it's hard to think of a movie that doesn't tell one of those 3 stories. And when the restaurant or the food purveyor gives you food, they're either giving you a sandwich or a salad. And you could assign a specific name to it, but there's really no difference to them. Either I'm going to give you something that you're going to eat with your hand or something you're going to eat with this utensil.
Yeah, you're trying to. Those words don't mean that. Something that you eat with your hand does not mean sandwich. Because if I eat a piece of chicken,
that's what it is. I didn't make this up. If
I get a plate of
this up, this already exists.
You are making this up. Okay,
no, Google it.
No, you're enforcing what someone else made up. You didn't make it up, but you're enforcing what someone else made up.
I mean, at that rate, everything is made up. But somebody realized that in the food world, everything they are giving us is presented as one or the other.
And for example, bought into that category.
Oh, it's true.
System.
It's true. That's true. You just haven't taken the pill yet because you don't see it yet. But it's true.
Yeah, I'm not a red piller.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, there's red pills about all sorts of things. And there's people who are stuck in the old matrix for all sorts of reasons. It's fine.
Instead of further elaborating this categorical point, listen to a different perspective. Let's do this. If you get a bucket of chicken, that's a salad.
Yeah. No. How do you? No. You're eating.
You just said it's either a salad or.
No, but I mean, like, I'm always gonna eat we eat fried chicken with our hands. If somebody ate fried chicken with a fucking fork, you'd be like, "What the fuck is that?" What's a sandwich? I just gave you like the piece of fried chicken. You're always meant to eat it with your hands.
So that's a sandwich, bucket of chicken sandwich. Now we're done. because everyone knows that that's ridiculous.
No, that's true. That's true. You'll catch up. I understand. You'll get there.
It's falling apart to it. Look at that. Look at this. Everyone's saying it's falling apart.
You'll get there. It's fine.
Where's the super chats? We got some super chats in here. Drake Abs, you're welcome, chat.
Oh my God.
We're done with Drake Abs. This went off the rails.
I'm hungry. I need a sandwich. I'm gonna have a hamburger. You still can't define sandwich without talking about a hamburger. I'm back to that. You can't win that conversation. That like you're like because it's a hamburger. How is a hamburger not a sandwich?
What do you mean? How not a sandwich? Because it has its own name. How's a stew not a soup?
There's many names for sandwiches. They all exist within the realm of sandwiches. There's two pieces of bread and something in the middle. That's a sandwich.
I get
a sandwich. If I took out the beef and I put in a piece of ham, you'd go, oh, that's a sandwich. But then I put in a ground patty and you're like, oh, suddenly it's not a sandwich? How's that? What magic trick makes it not a sandwich because it's ground beef instead of ham? Like, how, Sway? How? How do you get there? If I put a piece of cheese in there,
go ahead.
It would be a cheese sandwich. But if I put a piece of meat in there, suddenly it's a cheeseburger and no longer a sandwich. Ow, Sway.
My favorite sandwich is a turkey leg.
Fair. Yes. Yes. And I'll leave you with this. If it's 99 and 88 and 77 and 66 and 55 and 44 and 33 and 22, how is it not 1E1? It's supposed to be 1E1. It's the 11 is irrelevant. That's not a thing. They made that up.
They said you went full Seinfeld.
That's a Cameron reference.
No, I completely get the reference. Is the sandwich in the room with us? That's hilarious. Either way,
sandwich in the room with us? What does that do with anything? A French fry sandwich.
Tinfoil. This was tinfoil latte. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Drake has abs. Let's review. Drake has abs. Clip album's coming out July 11th. Is probably going to be the best album of the year. And Cowboy Carter has VIP wristbands, and a hamburger is a sandwich, and cereal is salad.
How is it not? How that was the easiest one of the whole test. How could it not be a sandwich?
That's fine, but you
can't define hamburger. You can't define a sandwich
without done with the combo. I already agree with you. Hamburger's a sandwich. I already done. Where I'm not going into
that because you don't agree with me. You're saying that to get out of it.
We're done here.
You don't. All right, now you're like, I don't want to talk about it because I lost.